Dan, if you could share your screen, please.
Yeah. Let me know once it's visible.
Yes, Dan, we can see your screen.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. The topic of today's session is Unlocking Potential of SAP Solution Manager. My name is Mathangi, and I'm a project manager here at Terra Information Group. I will be the moderator for today's webinar. Before we begin, I want to mention a few housekeeping items. Next slide, please. Thank you. All participants will remain on mute during the session. If you have a question for our presenter, please type it in the question box in your participant panel. If we are unable to get to your question during the session, we will be sure to follow up afterwards. Today's presentation is being recorded. A link to the recording will be sent to all registered attendees shortly after the session. Let me now introduce our speakers today. I'm pleased to introduce Randy Ridnor. He's our Senior Vice President of Sales here at Terra Information Group. And Dan, who's our main speaker today, is a Senior Architect. He has over 10 years of experience with SAP ALM. And with that, I will turn it over to Randy to tell you more about Terra Information Group.
Thank you very much, Mathangi, and thank you everyone for joining us today. It's certainly an honor to present to you and talk about our capabilities within Solutions Manager and our overall capabilities. The agenda for today will be a brief introduction to TIG, Terra Information Group. Then we'll get into an SAP ALM product portfolio. We'll talk about the Solution Manager features, some use cases. We'll also have a system demo, and then at the end, we certainly always open it up for Q&A. So after the presentation today, you will receive a recording and also a link to the slides. So everybody will also have a copy of the deck. Okay, next slide, please. Again, this is the introduction to Terra Information Group, and we have been ALM experts since 1997. I guess that's what, 24 years at least, and we have over 200 SAP experts, and most of our SAP consulting resources and team have at least 15 years of experience. I think within our leadership team, most of our leadership team has 25 to 30 years, so I think as a combined group, we're well over 100 years of experience in leadership from the SAP ecosystem. We also, as an organization, are global and operate internationally. Within our headquarters is in Chicago in North America. We also operate in Asia, APAC and EMEA, as well as we have a small office in Argentina. Something that we've always done since the very beginning is operated with best business practices in mind. When we start a project, we've always implemented best business practices. And we are certainly considered a #1 SAP partner and vendor. We're a services partner. Again, I guess it's 25 years. I've been misquoted the number of years, but we have a very, very strong relationship with all the SAP ecosystem at the leadership level, at the client executive level, the partner level, and that's not just in the US, but globally. And from a overall project standpoint, we have completed over 200 SAP implementations to date, and we're also proud that we are employee owned and as a company. So we've been around and we're not going anywhere. We've been here for 25 years. We plan on being around another 25 years. So your commitment and our commitment to the SAP ecosystem is firm and strong, and we'll be here for a long time. Next slide, please. So again, some differentiators that make us different than the rest of our competition. We have a proven delivery methodology. It's a spin-off of ASAP. It also has some of our own features added to it that we've learned throughout our years. And we do have 18 assets to accelerate implementations. We have provided these implementation accelerators since the very beginning to help speed up the implementation process. Global reach, as I mentioned before, with experts offices worldwide. And within the ALM area, we have 30 consultants that are strictly SMEs and experts on ALM. So that gives us a lot of knowledge within that space. And as I had previously mentioned, I don't want to be too repetitive, we have an extremely close relationship with the SAP ecosystem. That enables us to stay current on the roadmap, the solutions. We've been involved in helping develop the solutions and roadmap, and very strategic in our efforts with SAP. We're always very, very interested in the total cost of service and the total cost of ownership. So we have a very, very balanced pricing model. And one of our key features and distinction is that we're always worried about quality. Anytime we do an implementation, we want it to be referenceable and successful, that we can use to grow as a company. And our clients are always happy and come back to us for future work. We have a full employment model. Most 90-some% of our resources are full-time employees, and we have something else that we're proud of, a very, very low industry-leading turnover rate. It's extremely low for this industry. Some people in some of the other countries have extremely high turnover. Even in the United States, we have one of the lowest in the industry. Most of our consultants, again, industry and consulting, average 10 years, but I think it's quite higher than that. It's probably 15. We are another distinction we have. We consider ourselves a partner with all of our clients. We like to partner, and we're not a vendor. We consider ourselves a partner. We take ownership, and we have a stake in the game. We want them to be successful. And it's a win-win relationship from the beginning. From the day one, we're adding value. We come in with a book and start the process and hit the ground running. So you're not paying for discovery when our resources hit the ground. They're adding value day one. And again, value includes quality, integrity, commitment, innovation, and we're very much solution driven. And to the right, you can see again pretty much the same blocks: proven solutions, methodologies. We have the right team, doing the right time, doing the right things, the right assets, driving the right solution. And we believe SAP is the right solution. And we have over 65 optimization successful projects. And as I mentioned, we have the rapid deployment solutions, 18 assets that we have deployed. So next slide, please. And again, this is more of a differentiator in our coverage, specifically within ALM. As you can see on the left-hand column, application operations, data volume management, CHARM, ITSM, test suite integration, and then across the top, landscape assessment, prerequisites, deployment, training and support documentation, hypercare, daily operations, and ticket-based. That's for more managed, from a managed services. So we do everything from pre-sales, demos, working with the SAP team to help implement and sell the licenses, but we also do a lot of strategic work and more in working with the leadership and SAP teams and providing them with information regarding the return on the investment, working with the PMO office, everyone at a very high level, even from a project management standpoint, making sure that the ROI that they committed to is met throughout the project. So and then hypercare, obviously, training. We have a very, very flexible training model. We do a lot of different training, CBT, classroom, train the trainer. you'll find us to be very, very flexible in the way we operate as a company and with integrity. So we're very proud of the work that we've done, and we have a very, very strong list of customers which we can share with you at any time, and we certainly appreciate the opportunity today. Next slide, please. And this is again about our services. We do everything from projects, integrations, Boomi, HCI, APIs, CPI should be listed there as well. From a staffing standpoint, functional, technical, maintenance, any type of maintenance and support, upgrades, enhancements, remediation. We get a lot of calls where clients are stuck. We have a phone a friend, or they can just dial us at any point, and we're willing to immediately stop what we're doing and help any client, typically in a situation to keep moving forward. Upgrades, doing a lot of migrations from ECC to S/4HANA, obviously. Security, GRC, all of the other roles, security being such an important critical aspect now with everything with IoT and all the other interfaces. It's very, very important that we maintain the security of the system. Help desk, we do level 1, level 2, level 3 support. We have remote assistance. We can go on site if necessary. We can help with improvements. We have a knowledge management system of our own that is quite robust as well. And again, custom development in-house, we can do it here onshore or offshore, or a blended model from a pricing total cost of ownership, and we can work with the sun 24/7 if necessary. Learning, again, we can do customized training, workshops, functional, technical, again, CBT, classroom, whatever you prefer. You'll find us to be a very flexible partner and well-rounded. From a technology standpoint, we are very, very strong in integration and migration. We started out as a data migration and data cleansing company, and I think that's one of our biggest strengths. And adding third-party interfaces to generic ECC or S/4HANA through CPI, that's a big strength. And I think that we're doing more and more now as become more strategic and moving up the value chain to our clients. We're very, very heavily involved with the SAP roadmap and our clients' roadmap. We have a lot of our clients now sharing their 2, 3, and 5-year roadmap plans. So we're involved strategically in the rollout and when they implement certain modules and the overall strategy. So corrective, we help. If they're making a mistake, we sometimes make suggestions, and from our experience, how they should roll out and proceed, and assessments, remediation, all those things. So next slide, please. And our project services overview. We plan, build, manage SAP solutions. These are our 4 different things: planning, building, managing, and from a solution standpoint. We do turnkey projects. We do co-managed projects. Sometimes we are brought in to help co-manage a project with the internal team, as well as sometimes the SAP team. We always have a performance-based model from a payment standpoint. We only get paid when we reach milestones that are agreed upon and signed off, that we reach them. And we do long-term staff augmentation as well as short-term staff augmentation. Again, very, very flexible. And from an SAP solution standpoint, IBP, we're very strong. DMC, GTM, ALM, SCM, BPC, Ariba, SuccessFactors, Hybris, also EWM. A lot of the new cloud solutions we're also very strong in. And again, as I mentioned earlier, integration to third-party solutions. So next slide. Okay, at this point, I have the honor to turn it over to one of our very, very best ALM architects, Dan, and Dan will take it from here and lead us through the journey and the demo. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Randy. Thanks for your elaborate explanation. Now we'll talk about what is covered as part of SAP Application Lifecycle Management tool. So what is the whole point is what is application lifecycle management? So considering it's a single tool that will help right from when you have an idea. So for example, if there is an idea that needs to be implemented as part of an IT project, to the time it goes live, to the time during the hypercare, post operations, daily management, all this is covered as part of ALM. So it is right from the birth of application to the retirement or moving to the next phase, the overall end-to-end management, development of the application is taken care by this single tool. And what is benefits of ALM? So broad ALM or a tool that can provide all these features is something that will help our customers, where we have something for requirement gathering, where we have a framework to decide on ideas, to create milestone, to assign it to different stakeholders, create different groups between different teams, and to create a platform to share data. Then once that is done, it helps you in designing a right framework, designing strategies, or designing process flows. Once that is done, we move to the next phase of actually building those models or building that application, running test cases, different kind of test cases uh, in the development, in the quality system, and then moving to the final deployment to be run on the production system. We move to the phase of then managing the daily operation, how to run the show. Like Randy mentioned that TIG supports in a lot of operational related activities. So this is also something which ALM can be useful. And finally, once we have the whole ecosystem ready, we try to understand what better could be done to improve the performance to the next level, which is optimized framework. So these are some of the features that should be present with any successful ALM tool. And guess what? It is also present with SAP ALM tool. So SAP has few ALM tools. These are the three major ALM tools, and there are specific use cases and specific functionalities for these tools. So we will cover them. We will try to understand the overview. So most of the customers who have worked will be familiar with SAP Solution Manager. This is one of the first SAP ALM tool which was created for on-premise customers, because initially SAP was run on on-premise servers or on-premise infrastructure. So it is a full-fledged ALM tool, and again it can run from a small customer to a large customer. So it has that range of application, and also it has huge amount of scope with respect to the different topics that we spoke in the earlier. So all of them are completely present under this tool, and there are a lot of new. There is another tool which is created by SAP, and this is specific to more for with respect to customers who are present on cloud and managed by SAP or SAP partners. This tool is generally accessed by SAP partners or SAP, which is called as Focus Run, and customer is also given access to this tool. This more or less captures a lot of information with respect to hardware, with respect to app, with respect to some basis key parameters, with respect to database, operating system, and so on. This has limited functionality because since it is a broad tool and it is made sure that it is compliant to all different types of customers. So it has standard set of KPIs which are more or less similar for most of the customers. So, and these are some of the essential KPIs that are needed by customers which are on HEC or which are on partner SAP systems, so they can monitor their systems easily. The third is the SAP's framework, mostly driven with respect to cloud architecture, where there are cloud-centric application or SaaS type of application, where you can just consume those application either per user, per subscription, or per terabyte or per gigabyte. On those kind of application, there has to be a specific ALM tool or specific kind of application development needs to be involved, and that is the reason SAP has come up with a cloud ALM tool. Again, this is an evolving tool. You will uh, as you understand, most organization, including SAP, are pivoting towards cloud. So you will see a lot of functionalities of Solution Manager also being incorporated as part of Cloud ALM. But for today's discussion, we will talk about SAP Solution Manager because there is a lot of functionalities which are already present in Solution Manager, which we can take benefit from. That we'll talk about, and this can be run in lot of for on-premise as well as some of the few cloud solution as well. So let's cover this in more detail. So SAP Solution Manager goes to a huge range, right from managing, having an idea, to creating a portfolio, to defining a complete project with different charters of how to execute that project. Then it moves to the next phase of designing to deployment, where it has demand, understanding the demand, creating design, developing the tool, testing your application, and finally deploying your application through your 3-tier or through your 4-tier. And once that is done, we move to the run phase, where we check if there are any issues, we monitor your landscape on a day-to-day or on a periodic basis. We create incidents, we work on those incidents, we rectify a problem. We have a knowledge base where we keep editing and keep modifying our infrastructure, our application KPIs, and so on. And finally, there is also an option of request to fulfill, where there can be services, or where there can be future features of requirements that can be consumed on a service request, or where there can be a catalog defined of different services, and your end users or your customers or your employees can consume this on the go. So SAP has different features in Solution Manager for each of these life cycle. And to give a broader view, this is how different features of Solution Manager will go into different framework. Like project management will help you build idea to create a project charter. Then test your process management, change control management, custom code management will help you in right from gathering your requirement to going towards a path of correcting your requirements, to defining the structures of how your application is going to perform, defining user group, defining permission, roles. All those things can be done through these tools. And then finally, once your application is set up, there'll be a landscape that will be set up, which will include what is the overall reach of the application, what is the user group, what is the security settings, what is the infrastructure that we'll be using. All those details will be captured. And then we can also have different monitoring tools like application operation, data volume management, business process operations and monitoring. And the other tools like Focus Build and Focus Insight along with ITSM can also help customers if they want to raise a ticket or for the service request fulfillment, or to create custom specific information, gather the information for their management, or to customize reports for them. We will be covering on many of these features in coming slides. And in case if there are any questions, you can put it in the question box. Okay. So whole approach of us discussing these features is we present this to a lot of CIOs, and their question is, how will this tool help us? So SAP Solution Manager is a free tool. The only part, it comes with a new RISE contract, and the customer only requires a certain amount of memory and a certain amount of processing power along with some storage to run this tool. And all these features, once they are implemented, can be of good value to customer. And in a broad criteria, they can fill into either of these three buckets. It can help in end-to-end operation. It can help CIOs in value-driven innovation. And obviously, as we spoke earlier, there are new and hybrid technologies like cloud technologies, blockchain technologies, and other third-party frameworks which are being used by customers. So they can also be integrated through Solution Manager. And we'll see how different services fill in either of these three buckets. So let's move to the first one, efficient end-to-end operation. So the biggest challenge for most CIO is if their team is able to get more out of less time. So that's one of the key problems that most CIOs are trying to solve. And for that, the easier thing would be if they can automate some of the process, if they can define some standard working procedures, they can define ways to identify things that are going wrong and take corrective action, and create a knowledge system where they can share all this information with different different teams and create a robust method for so on. So with respect to different solution manager offering, these are some of the offerings that can help in end-to-end operation, which is ITSM, IT service management, landscape management, data volume management, application operation, and business process operation. So now we'll see how these different landscapes, different features in more detail. So we will start with one of the most regularly used, which is the application operation. So once a project is run, once the application is already running, there are different monitoring and there are different information that the team would need, a basis team or the application monitoring team would need to understand and to rectify issues. And that could begin from right from monitoring to notifying to analyzing the information to optimizing how the infrastructure is set up and finally creating reports for the value of business. So let's see how this will happen in real time. I have a demo with me. Just give me a second. So this is how the screen would look like once you have logged into Solution Manager. And this is a very easy to use tool, which is more related to Fiori tiles, where most of the customers are already familiar with Fiori related tiles, and they can easily guide in and can easily move through different widgets. So here the first tool that helps in application operation is the system monitoring. So once the application is running, we have to understand how the performance of application is impacting your landscape. So for that, the easiest thing is to go to search and search for system monitoring, and it will be able to identify that widget, or you can, if it's one of the most recurring tile, you can just save it as part of the important widget as part of your home screen, and it will be available in the initial slide. Then you move to the system monitoring. For the interest of time, I have opened the system monitoring tool, and this is how the screen will look in front of you. So this system monitoring tool will show different landscapes with respect to how these landscapes, what different landscapes are performing, and what are the kind of errors, warnings, and in case if everything is okay, it will just highlight all the landscapes are in good state. There are 4 different parameters that are used to gather information, which is availability, performance, configuration, and exception. So it's like a matrix for different landscape with respect to these 4 parameters. And if either one of them turns red, it will directly make your overall system as red, and that will be highlighted in this system monitoring tool. And in the right, you can see there is an alert ticker. This is like a real-time live feed of different alerts that are being generated in your environment, and this can be set up in any of your basis team or as part of your operation center, where you can check this and where you can work on different errors, where you can identify these issues and so on. So this can be easily configured, and once the landscapes have system monitoring configured, it becomes very easy to gather more information from this. So we can, in case if we want to go into more information for each of the landscape, we can click and we can go to individual landscape and see how those are performing in more granular detail. So for example, if I want to check how my system availability has been, I can just drill down and I can see there are different filters, like how my ABAP systems availability is, what is the status from the database, how is the technical instance running. And in case, for example, I just want to check my ABAP system availability, I can click on those widgets and I can start getting more information from there. Similar to that, I can also drill down more in, say, system performance. I can see how the system criteria with respect to average payload sizes, and once I reach to the most granular level, I can just click on the tab like to understand how much average payload size is, and I can open that widget in the form of a graph. Okay, there is some issue at the demo server. Yeah, so it will showcase you that in case if there is a benchmark that is already set up, otherwise it will take the SAP recommended benchmark, and it will showcase you that your current benchmark is much lower, or it is inconsistent if there is any error. So it will highlight those inconsistency directly in this graph. And there are various graphs, like you can check on different criteria, like in case if you want to see how the background RFCs are performing, you can go on and you can see how the queue has been running, what is the kind of oldest queue processes that are taking time, and what is the metric, what is the time that's being taken. You can modify the time interval in case if you would want to take a dump of a week's time, you can modify and run this query accordingly, and you will get the system performance in much more granular detail, and this will help you in daily analysis and troubleshooting as well. So as you can see, for each of the landscape, there will be specific information, and you can filter on different landscape. For example, if you want to see user load, current user load, you can see there are different criteria like dialog users, HTTP users, RFC users, and obviously a cumulative total user. So you can go do a deep dive analysis of each of them and figure out if there are any issues. You can directly take corrective actions. And so this system monitoring is the backbone of any kind of monitoring for Solution Manager. This will have various more than 800 different KPIs, which will be gathering total information and showcasing your team so that they are aware of how the systems are. So now we move to the slide, and as you can see, this will help you in regular, this will have periodically check your system performance and check on different criteria. And there are a lot of benefit because it will create an alert inbox. So you'll be periodically getting constant inputs of how your system has been performing. You can do your analysis, you can do root cause analysis as well, trying to figure out if you know that there has been some error, you can go into past data and figure out what could have been the issue. Like if there is any if there are a lot of users accessing this data, you can check at what interval of time, what were the dialog user, what were the work flow processes. You can take that data as a correlation and do your analysis from there. There are some prerequisites which are mentioned, and again,
Hi, Dan. Do we still have you?
the most important criteria is you have to enable system monitoring and create a diagnostic agent for each of the landscape which you would want to monitor. The next part is the focus insight dashboard. So as I spoke earlier, sorry, as I spoke earlier, the data could be overwhelming, and we will move to the demo so that we understand more on how this demo can help us. So in the same widget, I have directly opened the Focus Insight dashboard. So Focus Insight was an additional add-on functionality previously chargeable before 2020, and now SAP has made this add-on as free. So this can be enabled through the latest service pack of Solution Manager. And once this is done, you get a very easy to view tool of going through different kind of dashboards. The major two dashboards that we'll be discussing are the tactical and OCC. The whole point of discussing about these Focus Insight dashboard is since this is a lot of information, there are, as we discussed, there are a lot of KPIs, and for IT team, this could be overwhelming because they may not know what to look at on a daily or on a daily operational basis. So for those reasons, we have come up with these two dashboards. So first one we'll talk about is the tactical dashboard. Tactical dashboard is generally meant for people who are monitoring the overall system, or say IT managers, or say even CXO level people who just want to see how their landscape is. And in case in the operation center, they just want a single screen where they can have a quick view of system with respect to availability, security, maintenance, hardware resources, and so on. So this is a single tool which will help you in with some few 7-8 widgets of different information of all the landscape that are all configured. So for example, in availability, you can see all your systems are up. In case if you notice there is some issue, you can click on them and see data with respect to the last 7 days or last 30 days or a last year, and see what kind of issues were there, like if it was a planned downtime or an unplanned downtime. So this IT admin or say a CXO level can get a very easy to read view. In case if you want to create reports for your management, it can be easily done through tactical dashboard. Similarly, you can see your database growth pattern. You can see how your CRM has been growing. If there is any uh, data volume reduction activity that was done, or any archiving that was initiated, or any user workload or any throughput that was increased, if the data was increasing in size. So you can see that pattern and take action accordingly for each of your landscape. Similarly, you can see if there are any important security notes from this widget. So again, this will help management level to not go into much nitty-gritty. They can just see and identify, okay, there are some few important high security nodes, and they can ask their team to look into those. So this will make sure that they are also aware of how their systems are performing. Similarly, for different maintenance with respect to how their operating system database is performing, check what is the transaction level performance, check the hardware crunch or hardware resources for CPU and memory, and similarly performance related KPIs and user related. And again, all these KPIs for tactical dashboard can be configured with different filters, with different time frame group, and again a similar report or similar analysis can be done in a very easy to read format. So this will help IT team, or this will help the IT administration to understand the overall landscape quite fast. The next part is the OCC dashboard, which is Operation Control Center. So like tactical dashboard is specific for an overall IT administrator or for a overall IT manager to understand how their systems has been performing. Operational Control Center, on the other hand, is for specific team to deep dive, and for specific individual teams to check how their part of the system is working. So I think I may have to refresh this, because so it takes some time to load data, because it's a theory widget to show you a very easy to view data. So you can just click here. You can you can see in Operation Center there are different dashboards that can be configured. Some of them are already part of the ALM tool, that's ALM demo tool that's publicly available. But during our discussion, we discussed with our customers and defined what kind of teams would be using this OCC and what kind of basis activity or analysis they perform. And based on that, we configure a similar OCC dashboard widget for them. So there are some, I think 2025 benchmarks that SAP has already published as a widget for OCC, which are live. But for example, if say for example, if I want to check on ABAP monitoring, I just click on it. So for the ABAP team, this becomes a go-to tool where they can see how their different components of ABAP are performing. Perfect. So it takes some time to load data. Again, this demo tool will gather data only for a limited period of time, but in case if it is configured at your end, it can be configured for a much broader range. So it will show you the dialogue response time. It will show you the response time composition. It will showcase you the correlation between different types of dumps that were created, the transaction that got cancelled, what was the memory being used during those times. So there are these widgets that are already configured: spool utilization, your heap memory, and extended memory correlation. So all these widgets are already configured for a person who would be monitoring ABAP on a daily basis. And we have other widgets as well. So you can check, for example, there is a normal alerting widget, which can also showcase you different alerts that are being generated, different configuration of different kind of alerts that are hitting your system with different priorities. Yeah, so red, yellow, and what kind of systems are generating those alerts, number of alerts on a daily basis, or you can change this to a monthly view, and you can check different categories of alerts. You can see the configuration time that alerts took to run. So you will get a lot of granular information for your analysis, or to showcase it to your management, and to make, so when we discuss initially, this will also help you in optimize part of the framework where you can improve your system performance by periodically checking these different widgets. So there are more than 66 widgets available in the demo, but we can help you with any other customized widget also, either be it functional or be it any technical widget. You can check with us and we can set this up for you. And this based, again, this could be specific to your need. So we can gather those information from system monitoring and create a very easy to use interactive graphical dashboard for you and for your management. So once we have the monitoring and the dashboard set up, then a lot of our customers would want specific monitoring, like say Fiori monitoring or job monitoring, or in previous extent we saw ABAP monitoring. So there are some few specific KPIs in Fiori monitoring, like number of exception, average response time, number of gateway service execution, which can be enabled for a Fiori landscape, and it can be consumed as part of either technical monitoring or as part of OCC dashboard, in case if you would want to set this up. Again, the configuration, this only requires, the configuration is similar to system monitoring. It will require system monitoring to be enabled. Similar to Fiori, we have other specific monitoring like DIPO monitoring, where we can monitor PI message channels. We can monitor different how the channel availability has been, what kind of errors are impacting, what is the message flow, what is the overall PI components availability. So different KPIs with respect to PI can also be monitored. PI channel interface monitoring can also be executed. We also have job monitoring. So different kind of ABAP jobs, or any batch jobs, or any BW process change, custom jobs, all this can be configured. So if those jobs fail, you can get a real-time alert on, there are mobile apps and applications available as well. Otherwise, on your systems, you will get a real-time alert along with a brief overview of why this has resulted, and then corrective actions could be triggered easily. And we can customize different benchmarks and metrics like time matrix or range matrix, or how those logs are being generated. So there are different metrics that can also be monitored or confined with individual monitoring. There are other monitoring also, which could be monitoring of BW testing, or with respect to complete business intelligence monitoring, that can also be enabled. Before moving to ITSM, we also have other tools. I will just give you a quick overview, which could be like a system recommendation tool, and that is also available from in Solution Manager. Again, a very easy to use tool. So there are a lot of features which are already part of Solution Manager. You can contact us or DIG. We can help you with enabling them for you. So system monitoring will help you in identifying for your landscape what kind of security nodes are there, what is the performance node, what is the legal node, what is the audit node that has been released. So again, this is very crucial for your IT administrator to see if there are any important security nodes which have come for your specific landscape, and define different priorities, define what objects will be impacted. So for example, if I want to see what object list would be impacted, I can directly go and see show object list, and it will directly show me the different objects that will be impacted through this report. And you can even start a change impact analysis, and then post this analysis, you can create a change request. So all this can be easily integrated, and steps can be taken to make sure that there is no downtime, and the changes are reflected in an easy to view format. So this tool will help. This has helped a lot of our customers in getting up-to-date information for their landscape, and they can check different. Say for example, if they want to see what news have come for this landscape, and they can just go and read those articles, gather more information, read more on the performance note that has been provided by SAP. So all this can be a very easy to view granular format. So there are different tools, part of application operation, which we can enable for our customers. Then we also have a complete ITSM tool. So many customers use either third-party tool or pay extreme license fees on most of IT and compliant tools. So Solution Manager is also completely ITIL compliant tool, and it can be enabled all the important criteria like incident management, program management, problem management, knowledge art, creating a knowledge article, creating service request, or defining a catalog. All this can be enabled in Solution Manager. So this can be a single source of truth for your complete ITIL needs. There is different customization and configuration that can also be done, and there is the change part can also be integrated with Charm, which is SAP's change and release tool. So there are different features that this tool can provide. So in case if you would want to use Solution Manager as your default tool, this we can help that set it up for you. We also have other tools like data volume management. So many customers they find that their database is growing in size, or they do not know what is the kind of usage in database that they have. So this data volume management will help in defining different strategies on archiving, to understanding how to decrease cost of your database or of your infrastructure by defining how the database growth is going on, and understanding how your database volume is responding to different archiving strategy, and create your retention policy accordingly. So this tool, once you enable this in Solution Manager, will give you much more insight and will make sure that we make most of the infrastructure that we have. So this is one of the most important tools. Then there are specific tools for business process management and business process improvement. Again, this can there we can have a separate discussion in case if you would want to have a complete functional understanding of what kind of business processes you have and how we can help you in improving them. There are different tools that SAP provides which have predefined SAP KPIs, and they also have some KPIs from Signavio, which is SAP's new acquisition, and based on that we can define the overall business process operation for you. Next we move, so we have complete the end-to-end operation. We move to the value-driven innovation. So we have helped the CIOs in identifying their daily operation. Now we'll help them in understanding what more innovation could be done, since they are already satisfied that their business is going on fine. What innovation could be done? So there are these set of tools like project management, process management, test suite, change control management, custom code management. This is where any innovation or any new ideas that you would want in your application, these tools will help you in making those ideas a reality. So a project management will help you in complete end-to-end project charter creation to closure, and it will help you in creating Gantt charts. It will help you in allocating resources, doing a cost planning, assigning resources, tracking a milestone, tracking time, billing, and so on. So all this functionality is available in Solution Manager. Many customers pay additional to incorporate this tool, or give pay subscription licenses for their partners or for their users to run these tools, and this can be taken benefit of in Solution Manager, which is free of cost. We also have process management. So once your idea has started to take shape, once we have decided a project to be run, we would want to define process flows. We will define how your different business units would be interacting, what kind of processes would be running across different resource groups, how those processes would be interacting, what kind of information they would be sharing. So all this can be documented as part of solution documentation tool, which is present in Solution Manager. And then once all those processes are defined, they can be monitored and run through business process operation and monitoring, which was covered earlier. So all this can also be done as part of Solution Manager. Then we move to test suite, which is the testing. So once your project has started taking shape, we are creating say a prototype, or to a certain extent a phase of going through iterations of development. We can begin our testing. We provide integration with third-party testing. SAP also has its own testing tool called Tricentis, like they're partnered with Tricentis. Otherwise, there are different test scenarios and test use cases that can also be run as part of Solution Manager. So we provide a lot of specific test cases and test build either manual or through automated in different kind of SAP landscape, and there are some non-SAP landscape also covered. And as I discussed, it covers both manual and automated testing, and there are a lot of test cases with respect to different user group, with respect to different bandwidth. You can create those rules as part of test automation, and this testing suite is integrated with other SAP tools like solution documentation, which we just saw, charm, ITSM, and so on. We move to one of the most used functionality of Solution Manager, which is change control management. So most organizations define. So once they have created any new requirement, once they have created a new project, or once they have implemented a part of the idea, they would want to. They have tested it, but they would want to move those in a phased manner, from doing complete checks over development quality, moving to production, or maybe starting from sandbox. So for that, we have change control management, where for each change or each delta of things that are changed in our environment, how it should go. Uh, uh, there are different ways of change, be it standard or be it urgent change. So there are a lot of customization possible in change control management, and what kind of privileges and what user groups will have those access to approve those change. What will be the impact if those changes are not approved, what kind of alerts will be generated. All this can be tightly controlled through change control management. And again, this can be integrated with ITSM or with other tools like testing, so that your all the data seamlessly flows through different tools. The next interesting part is the custom code management. So this is a standard feature which is present as part of SAP Solution Manager, where it gives you a complete idea. So most customers would develop some custom codes in their SAP landscape, so that they can tailor-make those requirements or those SAP in SAP landscape for their needs. But in many cases, those custom codes may not be used so much, or in some cases, many people are not aware that they exist. So this custom code management identifies any changes with respect to SAP code and highlights those custom codes along with what usage they have gone through in the last couple of months. And based on that, it will give you a complete analysis that based for this custom code, is there an option that's already existing as part of newer SAP features, so you can remove those custom code, or is there a broader set of functionality present in some other functionality or in any other custom code that's already running, so you can replace them. It can also showcase you that there is this activity, that there is this custom code that you can utilize more to reduce your, say, improve your performance or to reduce your response time. And obviously then the last is avoid. So there are some you can even define some rules where you can modify some of the custom code for some landscape and create tailor-made custom code environment for different say for different view groups, where different users can access different kind of custom code. So all those data information can be provided through custom code. Okay, so now once the CIO has seen there is enough end-to-end, he's able to manage his end-to-end operation. He can see innovation, but now he would want to see how Solution Manager can help in new technology. So it supports a lot of new technologies, like say a lot of mobility related, business technology, BTP for that matter, intelligence suite, cloud platform, success factor, and so on. And just to give you an idea, there are different cloud platforms that are easily integrated with, say, Concur, Ariba, Fieldglass, that can also be integrated with Solution Manager. And there are different kind of, so we have discussed a lot of monitoring, like integration monitoring, data consistency management, business process monitoring. All this can be enabled through all these landscapes through a single source of truth, which is SAP Solution Manager. So this is a old list for different platforms on different features of Solution Manager and based on what is planned. But this will be updated in the current roadmap. So you can check all this information from SAP roadmap, and you'll get to know what new applications have been added and what kind of newer functionalities have been created for them. So this is it from my side. I have tried to keep the overall session quite fast, but in case if there are any specific question, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll be sharing all this presentation over mail, so you can reach out to us at any point, and we can help you
We
with.
do have a few questions actually. Let me read out a few from our participants. The first one is, if you already covered this, let me know. What are the key features of Solution Manager Diagnostics?
Okay, so see the features that we saw in the technical monitoring. There are some 800 defined KPIs with respect to what diagnostic agent can cover for Solution Manager. They range from a variety of things, right, from user workloads to database performance to how the basis functionalities are present, functional related information. So there is an ALM demo that's available, the one which I showcased. It's actually easier if you can go through different KPIs and see if they are satisfying for your organization. And in case if there is anything additional that needs to be checked, there are different specific tools. There are different specific KPIs that can be enabled besides system monitoring. So I think system monitoring would help you in understanding different features that are present as part of diagnostic agent.
Thank you. Actually, there's another question about system monitoring. This one is the threshold value set by the system, or do we set it up in Solman system monitoring?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So the values are by default set as per SAP standards when we enable this, but that is configurable. You can configure that because in some customers we have seen that their number of alerts, or say for example their usage is database usage is reaching 50-60%, and that's their default usage. So that can be tailored and moved to a higher percentage, which is not as per SAP standard. So it's configurable.
Okay, thank you. The other is, does the e-relay watch report exist in version 7.2?
Yes, it does. There is a separate tab for EWA reports that can be taken. That it will help you in a very easy to. OCC dashboard can also provide that information.
Okay. Here's one about project management. Can SAP project management be integrated with other SAP products like PLC?
Yes, it can be. SAP project management. Now it is also part of Focus Build. It can integrate with PLC and other SAP products like TICO as well.
Okay. And how about, can we customize dashboards in OCC and tactical dashboards?
Yeah, so I think that I covered part of this. So we can customize OCC dashboard. It has in fact a lot of options to customize. Tactical is more standard because it is meant for management purpose. So it's a standard set of KPIs and it's a one screen that cannot be customized.
Okay. And here's another one. Can Solution Manager ITSM tool be integrated with other ITSM tools like BMC Remedy?
Yes, it can be integrated. We have to do a complete assessment of your landscape, and then we can determine if there are any issues that can crop up. Otherwise, it can be integrated.
Okay. And what about the efforts needed to implement change and release management?
Okay. Again, this will depend upon case-to-case basis. It can range from, say, about a week or 2 weeks time. It can be a little higher. So again, we do the assessment. Based on that, we can let you know what, and also what kind of configuration and what is the kind of change flow that you would want to determine. Based on that, we can let you know the exact effort.
Got it. We only have a couple minutes, so I'll just go through a couple questions more. Where is the resource for SAP ALM documents? Where can we access them?
Yeah, so I'll share this demo link. That is a very good resource where you can do a hands-on. Otherwise, there is something called as ALM Expert Portal, which is where SAP will constantly put their newer services either in Azure or Cloud ALM.
And the last question would be, can we monitor non-SAP applications using Solution Manager?
Again, that's a very good question. So non-SAP application, some of them can be monitored. In fact, many of them can be monitored as part of SAP Solution Manager. Again, in the expert portal, there is a separate data on how to do that. We can help you with that in case if there's any requirement.
Wonderful. If you'd like to bring up the slide with TIG's contact information now, please.
Yes.
So this brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you everybody for joining us today. As mentioned earlier, we will be sending you the link to the deck as well as the recording of this presentation. Feel free to reach out to us. You have Randy and Mamta's contact information on the slide. We are also on Twitter, we are on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to us anyway, and we'd be happy to have conversations with you as to how this can help your organization. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of the afternoon. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.